Hi, I'm Tom McCollum, Chief Marketing Officer of VFM Leonardo, and welcome to the VTV channel. VTV is a weekly series of interviews with industry experts on the latest topics in travel e-business, and specifically online merchandising practices that help hoteliers extract more value out of their online presence. As always, we encourage you to email us at vtv@vfmleonardo.com to suggest topics that you would like us to cover in future episodes. Today I'm joined by Dr. Diana Driscoll, founder of Hotel Rescue and president of Ridgeline Hospitality, a hotel development and advisory company focusing on unique hotels in the southern United States. Diana is heavily involved in the green movement and social media, frequently writing and speaking on these topics. Before the formation of Ridgeline Hospitality, she practiced optometry and received numerous awards for excellence. Her knowledge of how people perceive and respond to visual stimuli, paired with her experience in the hospitality industry, makes her an expert on the importance of visual experiences for marketing hotels. Diana, welcome to VTV and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.
Our topic today is Welcome to the Experience Economy. Certainly, those of us in the marketing world are no strangers to the word experience nowadays. We seem to speak a lot about experience being the new marketing, and that the best way to market any product is with an experience so engaging that potential customers can't help but pay attention, and more importantly, pay up as a result. The experience economy also reminds me of a quote from Bill Marriott on his blog, where he talks about in days before, a hotelier focused their efforts delivering a positive experience for guests as they walked through the physical front door of a hotel. Whereas nowadays, the first front door a guest typically walks through is the hotel's digital front door, or in other words, travel shoppers first experience a hotel online before they even commit to staying at a hotel. You've done a fair amount of work better understanding how to deliver experiences online, so I'm sure our audience would be interested in your opinion on what exactly is experience and how does it relate to online marketing for hotels?
Well, it was amazing to me when this was first presented to me with an article called Welcome to the Experience Economy by Gilmore and Pine. And they explained it with a great analogy, and that was their birthday cake analogy. If I could just take 1 second, it makes everything clear. Because at first with birthday cakes, we were in the agricultural society, or they call it the agrarian economy, where we went and got the eggs out of the hen house and ground wheat into flour and made a cake from scratch. I have zero memory of this, but apparently that did happen. It was a lot of work. So then we went into the goods and materials economy, and that's where Betty Crocker saved us all. We got our cake mix and we went home and we made that birthday cake. Then moving on from there, as time got more and more precious to us, we went to the service economy, and that's where we spent probably more than 10 times more than a cake mix, but we just call the bakery or call the grocery store and have them make it for us. And that saved us a great deal of time. Well, now again, it's welcome to the experience economy. And that is where parents, especially if you think in those terms, are willing to fork out, say, $100+ to take their kids to something like Chuck E. Cheese for their birthday, where the birthday cake is ready, the food and beverage, the entertainment, everything is geared toward their target audience, which is the parents. And when the kids are happy in their experience, then the parents are happy. They left no detail unturned. For example, even the invitations are ready for the parents. And they had beer and wine available to help the parents survive the experience, if you know what I'm saying here. Although I hear that since some of those have taken that away, since some of the employees were kind of hitting the bottle in the back. But nonetheless, we are willing to pay a lot more for the experience. And that is important as hoteliers. And the question comes to us is, does your hotel have an experience? And is it a story that everybody in the hotel is on board with, the entire staff. Do they understand what this story is supposed to be, and is it reflected in your marketing efforts? If you don't have a story, you are already an experience-based business. We're not a goods and materials business. We don't accept money from people coming in so that they walk out with a bed, so to speak, although towels might be another issue. But they are there for the experience. The question is that experience set up to define yourself and separate yourself from the competition? And if it's not, by all means, take the time to create a story. Get your staff together, and the sky is the limit. You can be so creative here. For example, is your hotel centered around its location? Is that what drives people there? Is it the surrounding community, the culture? Is it based on music or the arts somehow? Is it a tech-savvy hotel, or is it an eco-conscious green hotel that really is just no end to what the possibilities are? But you need to get that message across, and again, make sure everybody is on board with that. So define it, share it, and start online so that you can garner those hotel guests.
So, we've found many times it's very difficult for a hotelier to define their story, and I think your suggestion of perhaps looking at it by answering the question, does your hotel have an experience, will help people shape that story. But how do you properly convey that story, given that the impression that people have of your hotel starts well before they walk through that physical front door, and in the online world in particular? What are the best ways for hoteliers to convey that experience or story that they have of their hotel?
And that can be tricky, because to some degree it is staging it. And by staging, we immediately think of acting, and you have to be careful there. The experience itself is authentic. And again, everybody needs to be on board with that. But in your marketing efforts, there is some staging involved in order to get that message across, get it across effectively, get it across quickly. And as an eye doctor, I'm very aware that visual content is crucial and extremely effective in having this work. So, for example, looking at, say, dating websites, do people pull up potential matches for dates and go right to the verbiage and read about the people? So, heck no, they'll go for the photos. And that's just human nature. We are visual. We will look at the photography first. You can use that to your advantage. And people are also attracted to other people who are similar to themselves. So by all means, use that. I love to see people inside of a video. One great example is the Intercontinental Hotel in Puerto Rico, where they have a concierge tour video that I fell in love with, where you basically meet the concierge at the hotel, and he takes you out about and shows you the beach, and then you go to the hot spots in the area. You see the great restaurants, and then you go to the great nightclubs, and then he takes you back to the hotel, and you feel as though you've had just this wonderful day with him. And even without seeing a room at the hotel, you want to go to this hotel. And not only do you want to go to the hotel, you really are hoping to run into this concierge who's really fun, loving, and gregarious, and he has a really cool accent and the whole bit. So it's a very bonding experience sometimes to bring in these people, especially when they are engaging. So try to include that too. Getting out your message on all the different platforms is very important. So be creative, be authentic, and be very brave in what you're about to partake in, and get that message across quickly.
That's a great suggestion for hoteliers, and that authenticity will really help convey that story. Certainly the Intercontinental concierge series videos are very well done and very popular. I think, to your point, it's the authenticity of that concierge and desire that they naturally have of showing you around their hotel and their neighborhood. Is there also an area that I'd love to explore with you is why is it so important to make sure that the experience the guests have online is consistent with the actual experience that they have in your hotel? And I think this will probably go to your point about authenticity.
It sure does. There's this thing out there called social media that, my goodness, does word spread fast. As Eric Qualman says, it's not so much now word of mouth, it's world of mouth. Things spread in lightning fast speed out there. So with social media and on the internet, if your message is inconsistent, it's often perceived as being ungenuine or unauthentic. And on social media, if you're perceived as being unauthentic, you will be crucified. You definitely don't want that to happen. It's very difficult to recover from that. So absolutely be authentic and make sure that's part of your platform that you're getting out. There is a great example, I think, that I saw in Israel, where an entrepreneur there who really grasped this idea of making it authentic, but it needs to be an experience, went out on a limb, I think, and created a cafe where he believed people went to cafes mainly for the people interaction, for the experience, and not so much for the food. So he created a cafe called something I can't pronounce, but loosely translated means cafe make-believe. And people would pay $3 during the week, $6 on the weekends to basically get an empty plate. And it stayed empty. They sold no food, but they sat down and they got to enjoy the interactions with people. That is really thinking outside the box. It was extremely, extremely successful, I'm happy to say. So definitely think in terms of that. So be creative and be consistent. Be visual. Get the word out. Start online. Very critical. And that is what will differentiate you from your competition and hopefully rack up the ability to charge more for that special experience.
Diana, certainly moving into the experience economy, as you've told us today, really starts with delivering authentic experiences online through both your visual and video type content, and then continuing that authentic experience all the way through as a traveler enters your physical front door and the experience they have at your hotel. Great information and great insights once again from you. Thank you very much for joining us on VTV.
Thank you, John. I enjoyed it.
To all the viewers out there, be sure to post your comments on this episode of VTV and subscribe to our feed to receive more valuable insights from industry experts.